RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. Are we on the air? I can't hear myself. Hello. Okay. Guys, sorry about that. Jeez, you know what happened? No, not that you... If you're listening on the podcast, you're like, what do you mean sorry? I have to start like right off the bat with an apology. I was going to start the show, and then as I was going to go live, everything crashed on my computer. I don't know. And here goes my fucking mic. All right, guys, so please become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin so we don't have to put up with this shit anymore. I'm not taking it anymore. That's it. You ever have that day, a day like that, where you're like, I'm not taking this shit anymore? That's how I think I came out of the womb, screaming about. And then I looked up and I saw my mother was Jean Devlin, and I was like, oh shit, it's on, bitches. All right. Welcome. Hello, Jim. Thank you for your super chat right out of the gate. Hello. So we're going to have a little bit of an experiment tonight. Jeff Waldorf is going to call in on the Skype, but I also have the phones open. We'll see how it goes. Don't get any ideas yet. We're not going to... What I'm going to have to do is add Jeff on the Skype and also keep the call-in going. I don't know how I'm going to do that. We'll learn about it together. So I appreciate you guys for meeting me halfway, as you always do. So I want to do as many shows as we possibly can. Shit. Fucking Mike. Everything sucks tonight. Technically, it all sucks. My pop screen is messed up, and everything sucks. Right. What a world. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. Let me get my head focused, because I was my heart was going, because everything, as soon as I went to go live, everything froze. So I'm a little bit thrown off. And okay, let's see. So let me just get in the game. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. We meet here. We have a regular scheduled time every Saturday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern at the RDT Daily and YouTube channels. And we are rebroadcast starting Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Progressive Voices, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. Please give the show a good review on iTunes and keep coming back. It works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it, and live it. And what else? I appreciate you all. We have patrons. We need patrons. And we want to get the Patreon up to, we need about 1,000 people. Okay, guys? Okay. And we will have, when we get to that place, and I know we will get there eventually, it's just going to take time and commitment on my part and your part. But when we get to that point, we will have a regularly scheduled show. So you won't have to be like, is Tara going to be on tonight? We will meet here. We'll decide, I don't know, we can all come up with it together. What's the best time for us? I'm thinking 8 o'clock might be a good time. Maybe not, though. We'll have to discuss it amongst us, our family, our community. But we got a ways to go. So in order to get there, I need your help. We have to do this together. This is really a community show. We stick together, we win. It's got to be a way of life nowadays. And we know that. We're not out of our minds. Yes, fascism is coming to America. It's not coming, honey. It's here. You've been seeing what's going on. I've been saying it for years. I'm sorry. I hate to be right. I've been saying for years that in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism. And yes, have I been proven wrong yet? Every time they make a move, they prove me right. Exactly what I've been saying, and I hate that. I want to be wrong. Today, for entertainment value, I watched Twitler and Bill Barr. They announced this Operation Distraction. That's what it should be called. Operation Fascist Distraction, where they're sending fascist police into Democrat. I hate that, okay? That really bothers me. Democrat, not Democratic run cities. It is Democratic. Democratic run cities, because it's the name of the party is the Democratic Party. So but that's their Frank Luntz, Lee Atwater tested it's a pejorative where they call it the Democrat Party, and then they say Democrat parties like flashing a gang sign to each other. Oh yeah, you're down with us. You're one of us. Democrat Party. Yeah, right. Democrat Party. That's why we can't have nice things, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not merely about just having two different ideas about democracy, or you have ideas about how to what do you call it? How to establish or how to get there. You both want a economically vibrant and engaged, upwardly mobile, economically secure middle class. The working class is the middle class, but you have different ideas simply about how to accomplish these goals. No, that's not the way it is anymore. The Republicans are the enemies the founders warned us about. Every single one of them. From your mama, your auntie, your sister, your daughter, your babysitter, your friend, your neighbor, anybody who votes for these fascist bastards is part of the problem. I liken them to the good Germans who turned their eyes from the atrocities that were going on right under their noses. And it didn't stop. I mean, it didn't start with concentration camps. Of course, it never does. So it starts with what we see. This forced, fake-ass patriotism. Because they're not patriots. They are the opposite of patriot. They don't know what it means to be a patriot. The lying, the undermining of democratic institutions, the pillars of democracy. Calling the press the enemy of the people. Well, let me make it simple for everybody. If you are somebody who calls the press the enemy of the people, you're the enemy of the people. You get it? That's how you know the enemy of the people. They're the ones calling the pillars of democracy the enemies of the people. So, and I tell you all the time, we're not, of course, I'm not like, this isn't corporate media. We understand that the Democrats are also there in many cases, not all. That's the thing about the Democratic Party. I believe there's hope in the Democratic Party, but let's not kid ourselves either. We have to know what we're up against. Greed. That's what we're up against. Greed. But we got some greedy people in the Democratic Party. Some of them are bought and paid for by corporate interests. They run the government as an appendage to corporate affairs, as FDR warned us. That's the truth. We wouldn't be in this boat otherwise. But the Republicans, on the other hand, they are entirely, not only are they bought and paid for by the big moneyed interests, they don't want democracy, period. They're not interested in an intelligent debate about how to have a functioning and vibrant middle class. No. They're out to destroy, divide and conquer, undermine the middle class. They want the middle class. That's why they want you to think that we have a middle class, you see, when the middle class is dead. The American middle class is now below 50% of the population. That means we don't have a functioning middle class. We don't have a functioning democracy. But we're living in a country where the majority of the American people live check to check. That's not a great economy. And it drives me insane. And this is why I ask you guys, and I guess this is why you're here, to support the real liberal media. You're looking at it. It is the grassroots. We're doing this together. Because you might hear some truth on some of the more liberal-leaning corporate media outlets, but there are some third rails they're never going to touch. They're never going to talk about net neutrality. They're never going to talk about deregulating or re-regulating the media. We're in this boat where 6 giant transnational corporations own media, all the media, basically, because of Bill Clinton regulating or deregulating the media, allowing media concentration, the ownership of and cross pollination, they call it, where you can own a newspaper and a radio and the television station in the same market. That used to be a no-no when we had representatives of the people and when we had a large majority of the American people who understood that democracies are not a given. They have to be cultivated. They have to be nurtured, and they have to be protected from the big moneyed interests, from the greedy bastards. So for the majority of the American experiment, we have been in this battle. It's always been, it's the battle of Western civilization. The rich against the rest of us. Oh, yeah, you better believe it. So today, because I study chimpanzees in a way, it's sort of like how Jane Goodall studies the apes. Except apes are charming and intelligent, and they would never be such eager dupes of a con man like the chimpanzees are. So I was watching Bill Barr and I was watching Twitler. They're speaking about their Operation Destroy Democracy. And because they're sending police, fascist-ass police, to the only reason they're sending them, of course, is to divide and conquer this country in the middle of a pandemic when 140,000 are dead in 3 months and 40 million are unemployed and 4 million are sick with the coronavirus, and they got no plan. They have nothing. I've been saying it for years. Democrats may not be perfect, but at least they try. That's the thing with Republicans. They don't have any ideas. They have no plan. Their plan is divide and conquer. You see what's going on. You're not seeing things. Yeah. They're sending fascist-ass police into the streets of America. And because I was studying the chimpanzees today. I should do a dissertation really on chimpanzees in their natural habitat on Facebook, on social media. These idiots. Because I posted, I set the trap for them Sort of like, you know, how, well, what, you know, it's an interesting thing. I remember I was in college, I was studying, I can't remember exactly what we were reading about, but there was a monkey. They had to capture this monkey, and they drilled a hole in a rock, a very long hole, and they hollowed out. So it was a long hole with a hollowed out piece. It was only long enough so they could stick their hand in, and but they couldn't. They could only remove their hand if they opened up their fist. So they put a bunch of nuts at the end of this hole in this well, and when the monkey would stick his hand in, he grabbed these nuts, and he didn't want to let go of the nuts, so he gets stuck in the rock. And so I kind of set a trap. Not really. I don't know. I wanted to see the flying monkeys come out of the woodwork. So on Bill Barr's speech and Trump's on the feed that was coming from the White House, I wrote, "Republicans are the enemy of the people." And then I sat back. I should have recorded it for my dissertation, but like as to be expected, they came swooping down. They need to salve the con man's very fragile ego, and they're all they're really twisted, frankly. I gotta call you, Jeff. Jeff is calling in. I have to call you on Skype. Let me call him. I'm hanging up on you. Oh, shit. Then I have to add you, Jeff. And then I think, hello. Hold on. You're unavailable. Oh my fucking God. You see? I told you it was going to be. Yes. Hold on a second. I know he's texting me. I have to call you. That's how I have to call him. Otherwise, we can't take phone calls. So I'm sorry about this. It is really the first time I'm doing it like this, so that's why there's problems. So let me show you. Let's try again. Share. How do you call another person when you're already on a call? Does anybody know how to work Skype? Fuck. Here we go. I am calling him now. Let's see what happens. I'm calling. Calling you. Beam bam boom bam ba. Or give me your number. Alright, this is what fucking happens. I should just say fuck this shit. Yeah. Who? Everybody's gonna tune in. I can't even talk. They're gonna see me babbling. They're gonna see nothing. Me trying to get a call. Son of a bitch. All right, let's do it this way. How about this? I will do it. We'll have him call in to the guest line. It'll just be on the air. Here, call there. All right, hold on. One more time. Let's try it again. TYT Nation. Add. Okay. All right. I think we might be getting somewhere.
Hello.
All right. It's the first time I did it like this, so that's why I told everybody who's watching that we're kind of fumbling our way through. So let me see. I don't see you though. I don't see you. Where are you?
I am right here. Sorry. Hi.
I see a Skype. Let me ask everybody if they can see you or hear you.
There we go.
There you go.
Hi.
All right. Let me see. Hold on. We'll get it together. I'm trying to make a split screen. How do we do split screen? Oh shit. Hold on a second. I should have figured this out later. Show scenes. I mean, before, not later. Don't worry, everybody's dropping off. They'll never see this. Just kidding. And now I have the wrong camera. Son of a bitch. How the fuck? I thought this was like... All right, this is Jeff, everybody.
Hi.
You could... Let me see. Now, scene... Son of a bitch. Share screen. Camera. Split screen. What the hell? This is Ecamm, everybody. I blame Ecamm for doing this. Well, I guess we could... Does everybody hear Jeff? Let's go one at a time. We see Jeff. Do you hear him?
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
Yes, he's got a great studio. They're all commenting on your studio, of course.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, it's really good. And yes, you hear and see Jeff, but there I am. And I'm trying to get a fucking split screen. Let me see. Facebook's better. Beep, ba, 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 ba. Sorry, guys. Camera. Bomb.
We're doing it live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. It'll get better. It'll get better. Hold on. Ecamm. I'm now Googling Ecamm how to do a split screen. If you would like to display more than one video source at the same time, click the tiny button on the top right corner. Anyway, whatever. I blame Jeff for this, really. You know why?
You know what everybody does.
I know.
Used to that.
Only...
I'm like the whipping boy of the left, apparently.
Right.
But, little does anybody know that I'm kind of into that, so...
Right. So they're playing right into your hands. Well, we could just keep talking, and I can... We'll go back and forth, and I will try to figure this out as we go. But
sure.
Yes. So I don't know if you were listening to the first part of the show. It started a little late. It's been a lot of technical difficulties tonight. But
leave me a happy.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on the left, because we don't have billionaire benefactors funding us. We only have each other. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and you look good. You have great lighting. You have a great set.
Thank you. It's it's DIY and a little bit of green screen magic.
That's fucking great.
All really self-taught because that's what we have to do in the left. Like I said, we don't have the billionaires. We don't have George Soros. At least I'm not getting George Soros checks. Are you getting George Soros checks?
I wish. It must have got lost in the mail.
Must have. All of mine too. Where are my untold millions for pushing the radical left agenda? I don't understand.
And that's why I was on Twitter earlier, and somebody had tweeted this image of George Soros with a chessboard, and he was moving around Antifa pieces, like little pawns that were dressed like Antifa. And I was like, really? I wish. Where are the Antifa meetings? Where can I send my dues? Really, right?
Yeah, and I mean, behind all that is, I mean, it's all that anti-Semitic imagery as well.
Right.
Like, oh, he's the master controller of
Yep.
the Antifas, and we're gonna start hearing about
Oh, there
how
we go.
we've got all this backing behind us, and it's all just a
Right.
sinister plot
I
to
know.
come in, take your freedoms and microchip you and all that
Right.
stuff. And the
Exactly.
irony is that they're writing from from their cell phones or their computers, which have lots of microchips in them, and
Right.
Facebook, which tracks everybody, and the government
That's
that
true.
already does. I
That's
mean,
true.
these are the people
Exactly.
that are, yeah, these are the people that are in favor of things like the NDAA, for example. This is
Mm.
something that you and I, as
Mm.
progressives, we're against. We're against this kind of just blatant, misuse of our data,
Right.
that's being mined by the government, supposedly for our security, in which they use to, spy on people having
Right.
votes. I mean, it's just, conservatives never say anything about that. Maybe once in a while, we'll get a little peep from Rand Paul, but then he goes back to
Right.
conservative orthodoxy and back to kissing Donald Trump's ass. So
Right.
I don't know if I can say that in the air, but
Oh
I just
yes,
did.
you
Sorry.
can. You can. You can
Okay.
curse. You can scream. I try not to curse only because I don't
Sure.
know. I do it, but I feel like maybe I shouldn't because maybe that's why I don't know. That
Only well, I think when it's deemed appropriate. You know what I
right.
mean? There are
Right.
definitely moments where you want to just, yell out an F word or whatever. And that's
Exactly.
in these days, I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of moments where you want to do that. For
Exactly.
sure.
Exactly. Well, it's just as the show goes on, it gets as it gets later, the
Yeah.
curses start flying, and I
Starts.
yeah, because really okay. Well, let's just get down to business here because
Sure.
they could see you. I don't know if you could see. I figured out the
I can
split
see you.
screen, so everything's looking good. Except I'm really seeing how washed out I am on my camera. That's probably works in my favor though, because maybe it looks like it's sort of like when Lucille Ball. I always you
Mhm.
ever watch that movie Mame with Lucille Ball? Whenever because she was older
Mhm.
and whenever they cut to a close up of her, it was like if she was you're looking through, you're underwater. You can't barely see. It's all blurry
Mhm.
because she's all
Mhm.
wrinkled. So I'm not wrinkled, but I think
Oh
maybe
no, no.
this,
Tara and I, you know, we spent some time with each
yes.
other back actually in New Jersey, right?
That's right. At that, in fact, I was thinking of you. The reason why, because when we were at this Minds event, it was called the Minds event,
Yeah,
MINDS,
yeah,
and we were. There weren't many progressives there. We were kind of outnumbered by the
yeah.
fascists.
Basically the only ones. We were
Right.
with Graham Elwood was the other guy that was with us,
Right.
uh, and we were on a panel together. And Tara,
Mm-mm.
you had your own panel where you were arguing with, I think, with Lauren Chen.
Yes, Lauren
Yeah.
Chen. Oh my God. Right. But I didn't realize that we were I knew that there was a lot of controversy going on with that because
Oh yeah,
a lot of people
absolutely.
pulled out of it and I didn't
Yeah,
realize it until later, but it's fine. They gave us a free hotel, so I enjoyed that. And it was fun.
it was a pleasure.
Except for I don't know if you saw recently yeah, that I remember meeting. What's his name? Andy. What's that guy? Andy
Andy,
Ngo.
no,
Yeah,
Andy,
he
no.
is back in the news
Oh boy.
because he is, and he's against Antifa. He's been tweeting about Antifa.
Yep.
Andy Ngo he's a grifter. And I
Mhm.
remember now because he was I didn't know who the hell he was, to tell you the truth. And they introduced me to him. And I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And he said, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I run Republican Dirty Tricks, and I have a show called Tarabuster on Progressive Voices." And he was like, like he made this face, like and I was
Well,
like,
that was the
"Okay,
guy.
right,
That was the guy that got milkshaked, I think.
right, right." And I didn't know his whole backstory, and I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I was filled in about what a true bottom feeder he is. He is a grifter. He was hit with a milkshake, and then he turned it into this. This is what they do, though. He turned it into a basically a cause that he started a GoFundMe page. He said that they put cement in the milkshake, right?
Yeah.
So he claimed that he had brain damage from the milkshake, being hit in the head with the milkshake or whatever, being hit with a milkshake. Who cares? I mean, these snowflakes. I'm not saying go hit people with a milkshake, but this is what they do. They blow everything out of proportion, and they are the victims. And this is why, I mean, this is fascism in a nutshell. It's one of the aspects of fascism. And if you study the history of Nazi Germany, they played the same trick that they're the victims. Everything that they did, it was in self-defense. Kristallnacht, self-defense. In fact, after when the night of broken windows, where they attacked Jewish shops and they vandalized and terrorized, I think, and people were killed during this riot, they actually billed the Jewish shop owners for the damage to that they had been subjected to, because they had
the victims.
Yeah, it was the Nazis who were the victims, even though they were the perpetrators. So this is what history repeats. Right. Exactly. What's that?
Yeah, you see it so much too. Again, your examples. We have so many examples. We have the president who plays victim all the time.
Yep.
I mean, he's probably the most visible example of this.
Right.
And everything he does, and I believe he expects the criticism from what he does. That's why he keeps doing it, because then later on he can go and say, the media was very unfair to me. Everyone was already very unfair to me. My own advisor is very, very unfair to me.
Right.
I can't believe that they would do something like this.
Right.
I'm such a victim. And it really does get them on their side, because there is this us versus them mentality where they are, no, everyone's against us. That isn't 100% with us.
Right. Right.
And so we're the ones that are truly suffering here as as Donald Trump orders, troops into Chicago and Portland to crush peaceful protests.
That's right. And he's equating, this is what's so dangerous here. And this is the other one good thing, is that when I'm listening to the corporate media, I am hearing them call this out for what it is. They're not, as much as I hate them for example, even today when he has another press conference and they all get together and talk about his tone. Who cares? Why are you playing this game? ABC News had this article. Oh, the president's tone has shifted. Are you kidding me? How many times does he have to play this game? The president's tone. This is nothing but an act, and all of these corporate media mouthpieces fall for it. But they are calling out the fascism. And let me see if I can play this video, which I hope you can also see. It's an experiment that I think you'll be able to see it let me see. I know, this is why you need to go to patreon.com /TaraDevlin to support the show. Because maybe we'll get a producer in here one of these days. Let's see if you can see this video too, Jeff.
Okay.
Nothing's there. No, it's not working.
Uh-oh.
It was. Let me see. Actually, it was general. You know what happened? I fucked up. That was my fault.
Okay.
Because
doing it live.
Yeah, whatever. We're doing it live. Hold on. Because I don't know if you just saw right before we came on air, General Honore, he was called. Let me see if I could show everybody my screen. Oh, fuck it. Whatever. This sucks. I'm sorry, Jeff. Well, you'll have to come back again another day when we're better at this. So,
No,
but this is good.
Yeah,
we're doing all right anyway. But so let me just fuck. All right. I don't have the video. Yeah, it was General Honore who they call him. Remember, he became well known for his work after Katrina, and they call him the Mad Cajun or something like that. And he's a well-known general, but he was on CNN or MSNBC, I believe, saying he was calling this out as fascism. He was saying this is bullshit. He literally said this is bullshit. And
he's right.
Yeah, and that the fact that they're wearing BDUs, that's the other thing, battle dress uniform.
Right.
And they're in the streets. And in many cases, yes, they're pulling people off the streets, but they're not. In other cases, they're just beating people. Period. They're not doing anything but beating people, like that Navy vet who went over. I'm sure you have seen that video where they just wailed on this guy. And
so,
where
are the NRA? Where's the NRA?
Right.
Where's the
Oath Keepers? Yeah, the Oath Keepers. Where are they?
Where were you guys? I mean, I thought you're supposed to be there to rise up whenever the government gets tyrannical and oversteps their boundaries and doesn't respect states' rights. You know, Portland, I mean, they don't want the federal jackbooted thugs.
That's right.
In their city. They said, no, we can handle this on our own. And actually, there was one of the protesters, there was an article in Truth Out earlier today that talked about this. And it might have been out actually like earlier this week or whatever. But he was talking about, and let me see if I can find the quote here. Here we go. Doug Smith. No, this is King Turner, actually. And he spoke to KPTV, right? And he said, I've had enough. When they started snatching people off the street, it becomes apparent that the federal government is just not in check. It was even tampering down, and then the feds got involved and lit it up. It's like throwing gas on a fire.
Absolutely.
And so they had, I mean, so what the federal government is doing on Trump's orders, by the way, is going in to these areas where they're not wanted and abducting people off the street, oftentimes no charges, you know, just letting them go later on, maybe after taking them, you know, around the block. And then, I mean, that is clear fascist behavior.
Absolutely.
These are the jackbooted thugs. These are the big government coming in and going after people. But the reason the NRA is not there is because, it happens to be people protesting for black, you know, in favor of black lives.
That's right.
Or, you know, black people. And so that's why. That's why. That explains everything you need to know about why the federal government is doing what they're doing.
Right. Absolutely. And it also exposes the complete and utter hypocrisy of the Republican Party and the right wing, who I've said for years that in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, and here it is. They're not standing up. And earlier today, and we were talking about this yesterday, actually. I was on the air yesterday, and we were talking about, you know, they carry these pocket constitutions. But they only take it out. They pretend, this is why you can't have health care. This is why, your health, your problem. Where's your pocket constitutions? They're stuck in your pockets now, right? Right. Exactly.
They have ripped out everything else except for the Second Amendment.
That's right. That's
the only one that they open it up to and probably fall asleep to it at night.
Right.
Just snuggled up to their bosom.
Yes.
Like,
suckling it like a baby suckling on a binky. Well, that's how they nurse their prejudices. That's what it is. They lack. That's what it is. They nurse. This is what Republicans do. This is why it's really conservatives. when I say Republicans, it's conservatives of all stripes, even if they're, but the Democrats, here's the thing. Okay, in my mind, because we know that Democrats are part of the problem. There are many corporate Democrats, but they would never, no Democrat, this is why I feel like there is hope for the Democratic Party if we get rid of all the corporate lick spittles. Because this would never fly in the Democratic Party. That they would never have a con man with a fake university and a fake multi-level marketing vitamin scam as their standard bearer. It would not happen. And they wouldn't they wouldn't get away with it. They wouldn't allow, it would not fly. So, yeah.
It is important that you made the distinction between corporate Democrats and actual progressives. Because, I mean, look, I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, right? But you guys remember Standing Rock.
Yes.
You guys remember Standing Rock. You guys remember Keystone XL. And so that was President Obama's time.
Right.
And we had federal troops out there, doing water cannons and against the natives.
That's right.
In order to help a corporation, not even an American corporation, but a Canadian corporation, be able to build pipelines throughout, this country. And of course, the problem with that was polluting water supplies.
Yes.
Pipelines, they spill, especially with that, that tar sands is actually the worst for pipelines.
Absolutely.
And it's a guarantee to burst and to contaminate that aquifer.
Yep.
And again, that was Obama. Yes, we did eventually win on that issue. Right now, it's even the courts are saying, sorry, you don't have the ability to build that pipeline. So in the long run, we did win, but even under a Democrat, and even under such a person like Obama, which generally I think a lot of us are fairly favorable, towards, even he, does sides with those corporations, in those respects, and so. You're right to make that distinction between corporate Democrats. A progressive would never do something like this. And of course, Obama never did order, troops into a city. As far as I know.
Yes, it's true. But we know that. But we also know what we're dealing with. Obama was not a progressive. That was one of a great heartbreak of mine. I hoped he would be. I was really hoping he would be the next FDR. But that was me projecting my own hopes and dreams. I really feel that Obama in general was like a national Rorschach test for everyone. He was either your deepest fears for these filthy fascist racist bastards, or you would project your greatest hopes. And that's why he was good. He spoke well, of course. He was a great orator. But that whole change you can believe in, that's the equivalent. That's the left wing equivalent of Make America Great Again. What is change you can believe in? It doesn't mean anything. It means what you want it to mean. So, yeah, and that's what was so frustrating about Obama, was that he was not a progressive, not at all.
And yet he was a competent president, and you could definitely give him that. And he was a smart guy, and a good leader, right? Just not the progressive leader that we were looking for. He was great. He was one of the best corporate Democrats.
Absolutely.
That we have center right, great guy. But and did some good things, and we can't erase that.
No.
And we wouldn't want to, and we got to give him credit where credit is due. But just remember, drone program, right? Kill list.
Yeah. Exactly.
CIA black sites.
Right. Well, it's true, right? Exactly. Yeah. A kill list, the stuff like that. It's we would be like, okay, well, it's Obama doing it. Now Trump has the ability to do that. So how are we feeling about it? And look what's going on. Well, one of the good things about what's happening right now, and this is what we said when Twitler was elected, despite receiving fewer votes. We always have to remember that. but
Sure.
is that at least it will wake people up. If this doesn't wake people up, I don't know what will wake people up right now. Well, we know that the right, because what I was saying earlier before, because before we got our phone call working, was that I was on the speech. Bill Barr was giving his live speech today, whatever, about how Operation FU or whatever it's called, and I went in there in the chat and I dropped Republicans are the enemy of the people, because I wanted to see what they would because they all came flying out of the woodwork, and it's fascinating to me. I'm watching them. I study them like Jane Goodall studied the apes, and it's fascinating that they're like, what do you mean Republicans are the enemies of the people? That's the Democrats. The Democrats, you have it exactly backwards, they're saying. And I keep thinking and saying, and I say it here a lot, how really will we be able to have a functioning society when we have so many people who are completely bamboozled by a con man and have a complete different definition of what it means to be an American. You really.
I mean, I think the big issue too is media, right? And I think you've probably heard me harp on this point before. We've got media that caters to conservatives. And we also have media, by the way, that caters to establishment Democrats.
Yes.
And so Fox News is specifically designed to be the propaganda arm for the Republican Party. And so they feed people things that are not actually true, things that are, patently false. I mean, you've seen the studies before, right?
Yep.
Where people who watch Fox News are more misinformed.
Yes.
They know less than people who watch other news stations.
Or no news at all. No news at all. They are less
no news at all.
Yeah, so people, you would learn more overhearing it in an elevator by accident than people who watch Fox News. So, yeah.
Exactly. And it does seem kind of unfair for me to say, what I'm going to say next. And so, I guess I want to give that caveat. MSNBC is a little bit of the same way with liberals, except that they're, it's not so much that they're feeding people false information, unless it's about Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Because that's, when it comes to somebody like Bernie Sanders or a progressive they don't exactly like, well, then they can say things that aren't exactly true.
There you go.
We've called them out before on our shows before, but it's not to the level of what they do at Fox News. And so it really makes it, because, progressives and liberals, we have a lot in common, right? We've got a ton in common. And I really would love to work, with other liberals to do things like Medicare for all and a Green Deal and a $15, living wage or $20 living wage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Around at that. And do all that stuff. It's just that, we got to get on the same, and I think most of us are, because when you look at the polls, somewhere around 80% of Democrats or something like that, or 70 plus, agree with, those kind of policies. And it's just, I think the big issue is here, how do we get there and what do we do? What's the vehicle for it? And that always gets me to the criticisms of Joe Biden. I know. And I guess the representation of Joe Biden. The Republicans are saying, "Oh my God, radical! He's such a radical leftist."
Right.
Because Bernie Sanders is advising him on some policies, and I said, "I wish
exactly
Biden were as leftist
as
Fox is calling him."
Right.
And it always makes me think back to. One of the criticisms of Bernie Sanders is, well, what if Republicans are going to call him a communist?
That's right.
And guess what? They're calling Joe Biden a communist.
That's right. That's all they got. That's their. They got They're so boring. That's what it is. They don't have any new ideas. Their idea is they got one idea: make the rich richer. Period. And
they do
by
so
any
by
means
fight each other.
Yep. So it's they're gonna call us a socialist, a commie. I get called a commie. I don't. It's like I yawn. It's like, please come up with a new line of attack. You're tedious. It's so goddamn tedious. commie. Yeah, that no one's asking for the government to control the means of production, or what we're asking for. Not asking, we're fucking demanding. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but to have to have a functioning society that works for more than just the rich. And if Medicare for all, if universal health care is something that makes you a communist nation, then the entire earth is a communist plot, I suppose. And
except for that lone bastion of America,
right?
We're the only ones that are resisting the commies.
Yeah, we're free to die without help. We're free to go on GoFundMe. USA. That's what it is. It sickens me that people have to go beg on GoFundMe for medical care. It's sick. And the way that what I do on my show a lot, and in general, I'm trying whenever I go on somebody else's show too, or in general, I'm trying to push the new. Well, not new. Is it new? I don't know. But push the narrative to reclaim patriotism. We are the patriots. They are not. And we talk about it here all the time because we conceded that to them. If you go on a right-wing, let's say YouTube channel or whatever, they were all funded. Like, for example, Lauren Chen. We mentioned her when at that seminar, or not seminar, whatever the hell that was, that gathering, the panel, Lauren Chen, come on. She's interesting. She's being funded. What they do is they go right on. They put all these obscure right-wing YouTubers. They get funded by not just by the Mercer family. They get pulled onto Fox News. They get made into bigger deals, especially. Like, look at this Terrence. What's that guy? He's a young black.
Terrence K. Williams.
Yes, him.
Yep.
There's nothing interesting about them. And they don't bring anything to the table. All they do is regurgitate the party line. And somebody like Terrence Williams, because he's black, they love him especially, and like Diamond and Silk, because they use them as human shields. And Lauren Chen too, same thing. They hide behind them. Exactly.
Right. There's nothing that the right wing doesn't love more than using a black person to attack black people.
That's right.
Using a member of the LGBT community to speak against the LGBT community.
Oh yes. Yep.
Dave Rubin's a great example of that. And Dave Rubin, I don't even think he's legitimate, and to be honest, I think a lot of these people are not legitimate. Right. It's just a way to get easy money because they have all that cash that they're willing to give out to people. Yep. Tommy Lawrence, same thing.
Oh yeah,
a woman to speak against women, and she's somebody who was talking about popping the pee in college.
I know.
And so,
God.
You go and you find those old tweets.
Oh yeah,
and they're gone now, but.
We got screenshots. So yeah, she's bad news. I had to get a job. Good news. It's at my mom's store and chill as F. Yeah. And she's summer school sucks was one of the. I mean, she's an ignoramus. She's horrible.
But funny enough, too, there was an old video of her with her talking about and asking a question. I think it was maybe a news panel, maybe it was a game show. I don't quite remember the context of it, but she was asking somebody about climate change. And she says, well, we only have so many years left. What are we going to do about climate change?
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
do something.
There you go.
So, and now it's because of the money.
Yep. That's it. That's all it is. That goes to show you this is who they are. They have no integrity.
It's a fake movie.
Exactly. They're fake news like nobody's business. And plus, they also, you almost respect them more if they actually believed what they were talking about. But they're such calculating, and they're so divisive. And I've told this story before because we'll tell it again. Mike Malloy told me about Sean Hannity because they ran. Well, he used to do a show in Atlanta. Sean Hannity was on radio, and they knew Mike Malloy, and they were at some radio event. And this is years ago. I mean, many, talking decades. And he said to Malloy, oh, hey, you're still doing that liberal talk? The money's in conservatism. So, and Mike said, yeah, of course, don't, whatever it is. Of course, it's only anecdotal, right? But Mike said that Sean Hannity is the stupidest person he ever met. He never had an original thought in his head. And there you go. And he is advising the president. They're on the phone every night, apparently. You hang up. No, you hang up. It's it's really sickening. These grown ass men who, and if this doesn't prove to everybody, all right, I'm getting my thoughts all jumbled in my head because I'm like, there's so many things going on. But for example, like after the Great Depression, I remember hearing a story about, I don't know where I read it or heard it or somebody told me that their father, maybe it was on a call or on Mike Malloy's show or something, their father had said when she was an older person, and when she became old enough to vote, she asked her father, who should I vote for? And he said, well, let me tell you, because he had gone through the Great Depression, and he said, I will never tell you who to vote for, but let's just remember that the Republicans did nothing during the Great Depression, and the Democrats won't let you starve in the streets. So that's all he said. And I always remember that because that's really the truth. They did nothing during the Great Depression, and they let people suffer because they are filthy, disgusting, greed-centered ideologues who hate democracy. I mean, that's really the bottom line. And the only state in the whole country that had any kind of assistance programs was New York, because FDR was the governor. And so he gave the New Deal kind of like a trial run here. There were unemployment insurance and food assistance and whatnot. But same thing now. Here, fast forward to this catastrophe. Every time Republicans get their filthy, disgusting, greed-centered fingers around the neck of power, they destroy everything they touch. But here, in this catastrophe, they are always way over their heads. They are, because they're ideologues. Everything is a tax cut. Look at what they want to do now. People are unemployed. All the unemployment, they want to have a payroll tax cut because it's never a bad time to destroy Social Security, right?
Right.
And so this is what's going on here is the bullshit. They suck at everything they do. So you can only bullshit reality so far. And so anyway, even as
well, I'm going to disagree with you on one point of them sucking at what they do. They're actually really good at what they do. It's just what they do is enriching the donors.
That's
and
true.
Themselves.
That is true. That's the way, right. When you put it that way, it is true. Yeah. Because this is by design. They are fantastic. You're right at deceiving this entire country into all of their bullshit. Oh wow! It's like all of a sudden I see the Matrix again. Wow, because it's like they don't suck. This is exactly what they have been planning. What am I talking about? Of course, they're brilliant. They just have absolutely no qualms about letting people starve in the streets, letting this country fall into complete and utter chaos, oligarchy, or as long as they can keep getting rich and hide behind the walls of their gated communities. They've been really successful. They've also been successful, now that we say it, at bringing the FDR Democratic Party into their paradigm. Now the Democrats are like, oh, big government's over, big government, so that's why we're in this boat. So you're right.
Yeah, Bill Clinton said never forget the era of big government is over.
That's right.
And he brought those welfare reforms that have put millions of people in poverty, kept millions in poverty. And has a disproportionate effect on the African American community. And so never forget that.
That's right.
And now, we have people like, for example, Joe Biden, near Tandon, people at the DNC that are saying, in the middle of a pandemic, sorry, we just can't do single-payer health care.
Right.
And not only can we not do it, it would actually make things worse.
That's what they say.
Which is
I know. Yeah.
a complete lie.
Yeah.
When you look at people that are getting, bills for tens of thousands, hundred thousands. I saw a story about a man getting a $1.1 million bill after recovering from coronavirus.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
Who's probably going to have complications for the rest of their lives.
That's it. We don't know. Exactly. The more is going to be revealed.
Talked about a lot, but there are people that have complications with their hearts, complications with their lungs, other complications. People have had strokes.
Yes.
Young people, people in their 30s. That doesn't get talked about enough with coronavirus.
That's right. Yeah.
Who's going to pay for that treatment? Because these people, 40% of Americans before the coronavirus pandemic could not afford a $400 emergency. Can really somebody afford $100,000 or hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills if they're lucky enough to survive the coronavirus pandemic? That's why we need single payer. That's why we need progressive policy.
That's it.
That's what the Democrats aren't doing, and that's what the Republicans, of course, will oppose to their very dying breaths.
That's right.
And have always opposed that kind of progress. They want to roll back the ACA. They're rolling back Obamacare.
I know. Their own health care plan.
That too.
Right.
Their own health care plan. The Heritage Foundation, Romney Care, they said, no, it's an abomination of government. Get rid of it.
God, I hate
Why?
them.
Because, I can give you a hint. It's the first part of that name.
Right.
Obama.
Right. And care, too. They hate anything that cares for anybody but themselves. This is what.
And they don't.
Yeah, right. It's true. But that is really caring for themselves, too. They would sell out their own mothers. They would push their mothers. I love that remember that commercial it was about Paul Ryan where they were like, oh, it's just gone too far because he was pushing a old lady over a cliff in a wheelchair.
Oh, yes.
And I'm talking about, and of course the Democrats, this is why Democrats make me sick sometimes. The corporate Democrats, they're like, oh, that's just beyond the pale. Are you kidding me? Stop being so stupid. Stop being,
and yet,
God.
These are the same people, by the way, that really enjoy the ads from the Lincoln Project.
Yes, exactly.
It's the same kind of ad, which, by the way, I love those ads. I think they're great.
No, they're great. They are. Absolutely.
They are great, but understand that the people that are making them, they're not our friends.
Right. They're Republicans. And
they're Republicans.
That's what drives me insane. Exactly. And these are the same Republicans that brought us Sarah Palin, that put Sarah Palin next to a 178-year-old man, cancer survivor's heartbeat away from the presidency. So if it weren't for Steve Schmidt, we wouldn't have a Twitler today. Every line that they crossed, every time that this is what they do. They found Sarah Palin. It didn't matter that she was unqualified. She ticked off some boxes for them, and that's it. That's all they care about. It's like go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, the Democrats are showering money.
Yes.
Establishment Democrats are showering the Lincoln Project with money.
Yes.
And I keep warning people, they're going to turn those cannons onto us.
That's right. That's all it is.
After us, progressives.
Yes.
Not the establishment, because understand. And Emma Vigeland put this very, very well.
Hello. Exactly.
In a tweet. She said that basically this is a way for Republicans to get leverage on a Biden administration for all of their help during 2020 in order to push him to go to the right.
That's
to counteract the leverage of Bernie Sanders and the progressive wing of the party, which Biden already is partial to the conservative wing of the party.
Absolutely.
We've known that. I mean, we all see, right?
Yes.
And this could be a way to get, Biden to stay away from that and to not concede to his friend Bernie, self-described friend.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we were talking about on the show yesterday, John Kasich is going to speak at the Democratic National Convention.
Anti-abortion, anti-union buster, John Kasich.
Yeah.
Balanced budget amendment.
Exactly.
John Kasich.
I mean, hello. That's what drives me insane about these Democrats. that
Yes.
they're not the FDR party anymore, and this is why we do the shows that we do. Honestly, it's true.
And
Your answer was 1,000% right. It is the media. Without media,
yep.
we're done.
Yeah, we've got to have progressive media.
Yep.
We've got to get out that message.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the most important thing, is to make sure that people know what's going on. I mean, a lot of people will still look at the Democratic Party and go, "Yeah, I think they're fighting for us."
Right.
And in some instances, social issues especially,
Mm-hmm.
you're absolutely right. And if there's a reason to vote for Joe Biden, that's probably it,
Mm-hmm.
because he's going to be fine with trans rights.
Right.
He's going to protect gay rights. He's going to protect all that stuff, and that's all well and good, and that's great.
Yeah.
And that is a reason to vote for him, and to get Donald Trump, the anti-gay, fascist, out of the White House.
Yep.
And so understand, like, we're not trashing Biden because we like Trump.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think all your viewers and my
Yes.
viewers pretty much already know that. I mean, you call him Twitler and
yes. No, they know.
But understand that we critique Biden and the Democrats because we do want them to be better, because we do,
yes,
at our core, we believe in the message, right?
Mm-hmm.
We believe in the left. We are the left.
Mm-hmm.
And we want the Democrats to be a better party, to be representative of all of us.
Right.
Again, when you check the polls, and 70-80% of Democrats agree with our policy proposals. There are some obviously conservative Democrats and Republicans that have changed their party affiliation to come over to become Democrats because of the embarrassment of Donald Trump.
Right.
But most of us, we all agree on the issues.
Yep. That's right.
And we might have some fights about how we're going to get there and how long of a time frame it's going to be. I'm a believer in sudden change.
Yeah. Yeah.
People powered out in the streets. I mean, look how fast, we got started looking for justice for George Floyd.
Yeah.
And how fast things changed. So it's got to be that kind of movement, in my opinion. And others think that a more incremental approach.
No.
I don't agree with that.
No,
but I
no.
don't think you're a bad person if you're there.
Well, I don't know about anybody who's asking for incremental change is.
I think they have an older, outdated idea of how politics works.
Exactly?
I think you're stuck in 1995 with Tip O'Neill.
Mm-hmm.
Incremental.
But incremental. First of all, this country is we know this. It's the least upwardly mobile. We have the widest income gap of all of our Western partners. These are the things that. What are you talking about? Incremental change. What is it? You just said the stat. The American people can't save $400 for an emergency. 80% of the American people live check to check. This is not a great economy. Every time a Democrat talks about what a great economy it is, they're living in the ivory tower. It's great if you're rich. It's not great for the working class. When you miss 2 paychecks and you're worrying if you're going to be able to have a home, or you're on a line at a food bank. That's not a great economy, but that's how they want it. They want us nice and malleable. That's really the bottom line. And fighting amongst each other, especially along racial lines. That's really the game right there.
It all serves to basically enrich the donors.
Yes.
And that's what you have here. The Democratic Party is also beholden to some of the donors, but I was talking more of the,
voters
who also, will argue about incremental change. And,
I know.
I generally don't think that they're bad people. I think that we can work with them, but I think what they're doing is that they're basically misinformed through corporate media.
Yes.
As I said before.
Yep.
That's the number one problem facing the left today is corporate media. And these people, I mean, again, they believe in an outdated way of doing politics. That doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Not with the social media. It used to be you to have 3 channels in the newspaper, and then you get your political opinions for that. And generally, politicians, you don't find out about really what they're up to. Mm-hmm. Now you can.
Right.
Now it's able to bear. You see the corruption.
Yes.
And if you're not, if you're not informed of that, if you're not paying attention, you don't realize that there are politicians that are definitely not on your side.
Right.
And those are the ones that push the myth of incremental change onto people.
Yep.
And some people, unfortunately, tend to parrot that.
They do. Yeah.
Those are the people that we need to go and it really expose to what's happening.
Yes.
And I know you're not going to get everybody to change their mind, but, you know, Michael Brooks just passed away. Michael Brooks was an amazing amazing journalist. He was an amazing man, right?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to try, and I'm starting to really kind of dive into, you know, the things that he really advocated for, humanism, you know, even more spiritual. Like, I'm not a spiritual person, I'm not a religious person, but I understand this, the need for that, and really the need for coalition building.
Yeah.
And to not have the left eat itself. And that's the biggest problem that I see with progressives, with the left, is that we do tend to do the circular firing squad.
Right.
Over small things, even though we tend to agree on the issues generally by and large.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to do is I really want to reach people. I really want to kind of reach out and really build more coalitions on the left, you know, and kind of pick up on Michael's work a little bit. I could never dream of replacing anything or even come close to the things that he's accomplished. And I'm not saying that, I'm not pretending to do that. It's just to gain a little bit of inspiration and to try to work towards that better future that Michael had imagined. And that's really, I mean, it's really inspiring to look at what he's been trying to do and the success that he's had in such a short amount of time.
I know. Right.
To build that coalition, you know,
right,
to make a better, stronger left that can win these policy proposals,
right,
and that get these things and really advance America. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, that's perfect, because it's also what we talk about here, because that's one of the things I regret. I also, God knows, who nobody expected Michael Brooks to pass away so suddenly, so young, and
my age.
Shocking, really. And what a loss, a true loss for the movement, really. So, because I was saying to myself, I got to get Michael on the show. So it's like, waste not a moment. But because in what you're saying, 100,000%, we talk about here, this is the motto of the show is we stick together, we win. And it really is about not just reclaiming the mantle of patriotism, but
Absolutely.
reclaiming our humanity. We are in this together.
Yep.
FDR's speech, you can read many of his speeches. He talks about, he's basically saying the same thing. If we cannot be content, even if 1/4, 1/10 of the nation are ill-clothed, ill-housed, insecure. That's how we have to look at what it means to be a patriot, is that we don't leave anybody behind. We don't leave them behind on the battlefield of war, right? Everybody gets that. But we don't leave them behind in sickness. We don't leave them behind in ignorance. We don't leave them behind without living wages, without a house, without any of the what it means to be or to have a decent middle class life, a decent life. That's what we are in this together. This is why you make a government. What is pledging your lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to each other? There's nothing more progressive than that. And that's why we got to take it back. And then I call it, I call the show Unapologetic Liberal Talk, because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of humanity, then the right side of democracy. They don't seem to get that. When they scream out your health, your problem, even Joe Biden, we got to get to the point where somebody like a Joe Biden, if they dare propose a health care plan, which is what Joe Biden did, that leaves his plan right out the bat, he thinks this is great, leaves 10 million without health care, then they are they don't have the nerve to propose that, because they will be named and shamed and sent back to their room until they come out with a real health care plan. So You don't leave 10 million behind and say, great, good job. What kind of shit is that? Really? Right.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Absolutely.
It's shocking.
It is. And that's why, again, that's why we get on Joe Biden. That's why we criticize him. And again, it's not to empower the Republicans who we are, fighting, but we've got to really push these policies forward. And it doesn't, like, Republicans are always going to be against us in this. But I think that if we really build a unified left and we get more left politicians, more AOCs, more Ilhan Omars, Rashida Tlaibs into Congress, we can really push those policies and we can get a majority that can pass it.
Yes.
And I know what Joe Biden said when he said, well, if theoretically that goes to my desk, I will veto it. Well, then what we need to do then is to get enough people in Congress to override your veto.
Yep. And get into the streets. That's the other thing.
Get into the streets.
Right. It's
not just electoral politics.
Exactly. Guys. We need liberal media, and you see what's going on in Black Lives Matter. This is why the Republicans now, like today when I was watching Bill Barr and the other fascists all talking about the Operation, whatever the hell, Operation Destroy Democracy. They're saying they're trying to conflate Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter movement, with riot, anarchy, disruption, chaos. So, which goes to show you right then that they have absolutely zero interest in having a functioning society. That's really it. They really want people in their place. Shut up. They will divide and conquer this country as long as they could suck profit from the ashes. That's how it is. Really.
It's always funny. Just a little anecdote. It's always funny. Anarchists always get mad at me for stuff like that. For saying like, oh, anarchy, right? They're like, actually, my form of anarchism is like a leftist anarchism, that's sort of more Marxist than that. I was like, okay, I get it. But no, it's more like a basically Ayn Randian. It goes back to that really, where the business owners are the supermen, and they're the ones that really should be driving this whole ship because they're the smartest and they're the brightest and all that stuff. And by the way, Ayn Rand's a terrible writer.
She sucks.
Also terrible person.
Yes, exactly.
Also terrible writer. And so that's really kind of the philosophy behind it. You have that social, sort of Darwinistic, and you can combine this with, their beliefs in certain, forms of religion, Christianity specifically, their form of Christianity. And that's why it's important to kind of differentiate between those different forms. It's the ones where, well, if you're born, or if you're wealthy, it's because God wanted you to be wealthy.
Yeah.
And if you're poor, well, God's punishing you for being wicked. And therefore, we should not help you. The government should not exist to help you. The government should exist to help those who are wealthy because they are already righteous.
Right.
And so there is that belief among a lot of, or I should say maybe a substantial number of conservative politicians, I believe, and those who are in the evangelical faith. And I'm not saying all of them because I actually am friends, really good friends with a leftist evangelical. And so they do exist.
Yeah.
And there is and I really think the religious left needs to make its voice heard a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Going back to what Michael was talking about, with really, the Democratic Party embracing more of its spirituality in its core.
Yes.
These lefty Christians and lefty Muslims as well, because they're big believers in helping the poor and the needy and all that. We've got to really, I think their voices should be lifted as well and part of the conversation a lot more.
Yes, definitely. Because it really is about, what is this? What is life about? What is the meaning of life? This is what it comes down to. That what is the meaning of life, ultimately? We're in this together. connection, unity, community. That's what it mean. What does it mean to be a human being? What is humanity? You know what I mean? So of course,
Tara, that sounds kind of communist.
It does, right? But I don't. That's why the Republicans are so, and the conservatives. They're just everything about them. Honestly, do they have a mirror? For Christ's sakes, freaking! They don't need a wall. They need a mirror. Go in the mirror. Just look and how do you justify yourself when you're everything that's going on? Not just that Twitler is such a hypocrite, but all of the policies are so anti and anything that the Jesus they pretend to worship ever instructed them to do. Even just loving thy neighbor, or turning the other cheek, or visiting someone in prison. I mean, these people are. It's the hypocrisy is just beyond. It's boundless. And
there's a lot of contradiction, in modern conservatism at this point. I mean, I was talking to a couple of friends that visited today, and actually, and they were talking about somebody that they know who was conservative, really helped them out, right? It gave them a place to stay, helping them out with stuff, but has some really awful views, when it comes to immigrants, and when it comes to Muslims, and when it comes to these different groups, and really it's a Fox News plays in that house, going back to our media problem, and really, and when you look at it, there's a tribal mentality.
That's it.
When it comes to conservatives, where it allows them to be some very kind to some people, but only if it's in their it's in their circle, if it's somebody that they know.
Yes.
With us progressives, I mean, we all know this. Bernie Sanders, for example, great example of the slogan, right? Like, are you ready to fight for someone you don't know?
Absolutely.
And that's the difference. That is the difference.
Right.
Conservatives will fight for people that they know. It depends, of course. I've noticed a lot of times where, for example, somebody who is gay in a conservative family comes out, and and of course sometimes you have the terrible reaction of people lose their get kicked out of their home, or shunned from the family, and in other situations there's tepid acceptance, and then really sometimes there is a that's okay, but now because I've been through this, or I know somebody who's gay, or so in the closet that like maybe Lindsey Graham. I didn't say anything.
Lady Graham.
Did you hear that?
That's
no.
Lady Graham. Yeah.
Lady Graham. And so but going back to the point is, they don't know it. They don't do anything about it until it happens to them.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Whereas progressives, the difference is, as soon as we learn about this injustice,
that's right,
even if it hasn't happened to us,
it
affects us to our core.
Yep.
And,
that's it.
And we have to do something about it, because it I don't know, it is empathy.
Yes.
And that is something that people, and I've seen around this world, don't have enough of. We need more empathy in our politics. That's right. And there's just not enough.
Right. And that's the thing with Bernie's campaign, when I remember being in Queensboro Park, and he started saying, "Are you ready to fight for your neighbor, for your undocumented neighbor, even though you're native born? Are you ready to fight for your friend who has no health insurance, even though you are insured?" So that made me cry. I connected with that, and I continue to connect with it. That is really the solution here. This entire country is sick and suffering from PTSD because we are divided. Everyone's on edge. We have some kinds of everyone is on edge from the coronavirus, from the lies, the incessant lies, and then you have half of the American people, less than half, a little less, like the conservatives, who are listening to the lies and believing the lies, turning against government, and fighting each other. Not just that you disagree on policies. They literally cannot. They just think that they're like what QAnon says. There's this whole cabal and George Soros and no. And that's what always baffles me, too, I have to say. Because they're always like, oh, George Soros is controlling things. Well, to what end? So everybody can have health care and his taxes go up? What is the end game here? Is that the rich have to pay their fair share? They don't get to be the first trillionaire. Instead of going to Mars, we take care of the people who live on Earth? Because that's what Jeff Bezos wants to do. He's going to be the world's first trillionaire in 6 years, and he wants to go to Mars. He's
you know why he wants to go to Mars?
Because he fucked up Earth.
Climate change is screwing us over. So instead of wanting to do something about it,
I see.
How
good of him.
Off.
Yeah, bye-bye, suckers. So, because he created an online bookstore, so we get to be Jeff Bezos's all of the serfs and to our sovereign lord who wants to go to Mars. I mean, it's ridiculous. We have starving people. We have people without health care. There are people begging on GoFundMe for health care. In fact, we read an article yesterday on the show about Jeff Bezos. He increased his wealth by 80 something billion dollars in one day. No, wait, where is this? Not 80. Jeff Bezos adds, not 80, it was 13 billion. But still, after a couple of billions, million, it's all chump change for him.
Unfathomable amount of money, really.
Right.
I mean, can really anybody imagine $1 billion?
Right, $1 billion.
These
Why
are
do you
numbers that get thrown around, and nobody really even understands how much that really is. I believe I saw something the other day, and I'm going to, murder it as I paraphrase it, but something about like, hey, if you started out at like the, 65 million years ago at the time of the dinosaurs, and you got like, you saved like $1,000 a month or something like that, or whatever arbitrary, maybe even $10,000 a month. Even at the certain, this certain point, you still wouldn't have enough money as Jeff Bezos does.
Oh, F him. F him. This is why the French really, I always talk about the national razor. How much longer are we going to take it? This is a sick system where the American people, it's completely broken. There's absolutely no reason why one man, we can't allow one human being it's like a cancer cell eating up all the resources of the body until the entire body dies. That's what it is. We're in the cancer stage of capitalism. And then I have right-wingers, they'll be like, oh, well, they say, because I say, whatever rich should pay, they need to pay a high marginal tax rate. They need to, and they'll say, oh, well, who are you to tell them that what they have to pay on the money they earned? I'm sorry, they could still be rich, but this is about all of us. It's about protecting the system of government that so many fought, bled, and died to create and entrust to us. So it's not Jeff Bezos' world, and we all live in it. I hate to say, really, for these right-wingers. It baffles me, too, how they feel like they must rally around this plutocrat, really, who is eating up who's destroying this country. That's the other thing. Remember during the debates, the way Chuck Todd, during the Democratic primary, Chuck Todd asked, this always pisses me off, he asked Bloomberg, Bernie Sanders thinks billionaires shouldn't exist. So, Mr. Bloomberg, should you exist? What a fucking way to phrase a question so disingenuously, as if you're obviously he's phrasing it as in a way that it sounds inhumane. Should you exist? It's not about him, you lick spittle.
Remember, Chris Matthews
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Chris Matthews
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
talking about how, well, if Bernie Sanders
yes.
gets into power, what are we we start, gonna bringing people down to Central Park,
Right.
billionaires, shooting them? And it's like,
right.
You're an insane person.
Right. Exactly.
That's not what we're asking
Well,
for.
this is why during the primary when Bernie was when he won Nevada, I was losing my mind watching the corporate media on MSNBC all day. It was a non-stop Bernie bash from morning, noon, and night all day, and it never stopped. Every single day, they were like calling him everything but a mother's son. It was really as if it was, and they did frame it like Chris Matthews said, it was like Nazis invading Poland. He said, and really, so that having a health care, everyone having health care, the middle class having a seat at the table, being a middle class. How about that?
Right.
Here's the thing. We know this because we do this, and the listeners and viewers know this, but the middle class is now below 50% of the population. It happened recently. We've been going down, lower on the ladder. Now we're below 50%. How much longer? How much longer are we going to take it? And that's why you're 100,000% right. Corporate media, we need the listeners, the viewers. This is the liberal media. You're looking at it. It's me. It's Jeff Waldorf. It's us fumbling for the right button here to make a split screen.
The irony is about this, right? So now with coronavirus, a lot of us actually have better looking sets and studios than people on CNN, which I find hilarious.
That's true.
And ironic.
Right. Well, I always say that we'll know that that the country's has turned a corner when you and I are on a giant media platform. We have millions of viewers, and Stephanie Rule is in her living room saying, "Please become a patron."
Right.
It's true. That's how we know. But I open up the phones if anybody wants to call. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I wanted to see if somebody, unless you have to go. Are you hanging in, or how's it going?
Yeah, I can hang in for a little bit more.
You did it. You've done a lot. You're a trooper here.
The conversation flows like water.
I know. It's great. I'm having a great time, and so are the viewers, and everyone on the chat is really chatting it up. And that's why I opened the phones. Maybe somebody wants to call in and say hello to us. I don't know. I've never. This is an experiment. So go ahead. Sorry.
Right. This is why I like talking to you, Tara. It's a stream of consciousness. It's because any of you who have seen my show before, it's a little bit more, it's a little produced, right?
Right.
I produce it myself, and it's a little bit more tight in the segments, but that's why I really like the format here, where it's a stream of consciousness, and we're really just sitting down for real talk, and I think that's what I think media needs more of that,
right?
And I think a little bit less to the produced segments and a little bit more. Because like it's good to have the fun little YouTube clips and all that, but really sitting down to have a big conversation where it's unpredictable, the directions that we're going to go, the things that we're going to discuss and really touch on, but nonetheless it's fun and it's engaging, and that's what we want to do here. That's what progressive media is. It's just real people having real conversations, and talking about issues. Right.
And also, I think it's framing the debate and reclaiming the mantle of patriotism. All the time. This is why I called Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's show. She has a call-in show for her constituents. And so I called, and this is what we talked about, because I really want to get this into the public consciousness about taking back patriotism. It is patriotic. We have to frame these issues as patriotic imperatives. if you like democracy, I mean, that sounds simple. If you are an American, if you believe in the grand experiment in liberal democracy, and you believe that we are in this together, 320 million diverse people, that people fought, bled, and died for the vote, all of these things, you have to be for progressive taxation and a high marginal tax rate, because you can't have an aristocracy and a democracy at the same time. I mean, all of these things have to be proposed, and the people have to get it, that these are patriotic imperatives. Do you know what I mean? It's like Medicare for all. It's not just a nice and moral and good thing. It is a patriotic imperative. But yes,
it's also the right thing. I mean, when it comes to fiscally too, it's the right.
Right.
And I know a lot of people will make the argument that no, how can that be? When you cover everybody, shouldn't that cost more? Not necessarily.
Right.
Especially when you have more access to income through taxation, and when you evenly spread out the risk to every man, woman, and child.
Right.
And so that actually makes it more affordable. I always see the argument from conservatives about countries that have a single-payer system. They always look at the Nordic countries and say, well, it's not that many people there.
Right, so, that's their excuse.
A single-payer system could never work in such a big country such as America. Those people have never heard of scale.
Right.
Being able to scale up, because that's exactly what it is. They probably don't understand the whole, thing behind per capita, right? Per 1,000 people, being able to scale up and scale down accordingly to what you're discussing. And so one thing that we can do here in America is we can definitely scale up a national healthcare system.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Really easily. Yeah. And we can afford to do it. And we can save money doing it by allowing ourselves to negotiate with hospitals and providers, and getting rid of the insurance companies, which have a profit motive. They're essentially a middleman, as well as, being able to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies for their drugs, because we in America, and this blows, it should blow your mind, that we pay way more than anyone else in any other country for the same medications that are, by the way, are produced here.
Yes.
How come people in the UK or in Canada pay less for the same drugs manufactured right in the good old USA than the people in the USA, whose tax dollars, by the way, went to research and development of that same drug?
Absolutely.
So provide the infrastructure for that corporation to flourish.
Yeah.
And sometimes, of course, investment from the taxpayer in researching grants, as well as maybe building the research facility.
That's right.
A lot of research gets done at colleges.
Yep.
And so why are we, the taxpayer who has invested so much into these medications, have to pay so much for them?
Right. It's just a scam.
How is that patriotic?
Exactly. Well, that's what we were talking about this not too long ago, because that was, what's his name? Cory Booker did that. He stopped, he put the kibosh, and he was like, oh, it's not safe. Bullshit. It's everything that you were saying. It's created in America. We export it. We're just trying to re-import it and not get fleeced. Yep. Well, let's, we have a caller. We had a couple of callers here. Hold on. Oh, cool. Let's see. All right, everybody, I'm just warning. Fair warning. This could go bad. All right. Please become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. And what's your Patreon? Tell them.
That's TYT Nation.
Yes. So we need your support. Okay, hold on. Patricia? Are you on the phone, Patricia?
Hey.
Can you hear her?
On the phone.
Hi.
Tara.
Oh, good.
I can hear you.
Good. You hear Jeff? Jeff,
Hi.
say something.
I hear Jeff.
Okay, and Jeff, you hear Patricia, right?
I do.
Hey.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
My God, it's working.
Oh, good. Hey.
Now let's see if
It's working.
And the viewers. Now here's another. The viewers, we hear you, Patricia. Holy Christ, it's working. All right, great.
Nice.
This is good. I'm happy. I'm happy for once in my life. Oh my God, it only took how many years? Wow. See, my mama told me I wouldn't be somebody. Now here I am, Mama. Look at me now. We got a caller, we got a guest, we got a show. So, Patricia, thank you for
There
calling.
you are.
What's going on?
Yes.
Yes.
You're getting it together. What's going on? Oh, no, I was eating dinner. Everybody's got way too many excuses for not calling. What is up?
I know, right? Right? She's just calling because she's a good sport. Because I went on the chat and I said, somebody better call in or I'll kill you. Forget all this peace and love.
Calling in. I keep calling in, but I agree with it is about community, and we really do need to educate more people about
right.
What
that's it.
Being patriotic means, and it really we need to really all work together now. I mean, it's getting bad out here.
Yes,
and I'm fearful for a lot of people that I see out here, especially our young people.
That's right.
I'm
fearful for them too. The youth, really, what a world for them to grow up in.
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing anything to take care of climate change.
Right.
We've made major cutbacks to programs here in Nevada, education, Medicaid, all of the state programs, which affects some of the programs I'm receiving services from. I have no caregiver as of tomorrow now.
What?
Because they are taking private pay, and those of us on Medicaid are last in line. And we're the ones that really need them because we don't have money. We don't have good insurance.
This is bullshit,
we have
really.
Medicaid, and Medicaid's not paying. You bet. And Medicaid is not paying the caregivers enough here in this state. Our governor, we asked our House in the special session, our House and our Senate, to please tax the mining corporations and the big businesses here, including casinos, because housing here is just, it's not affordable at all. We're looking at people being homeless. We're looking at so many cutbacks, and instead of taxing these big corporations and mining, what did they do? They're cutting from education.
Right.
And yet they want the kids to go back to school.
I know.
Figure.
Yeah, because they don't care. They don't care.
It's not safe.
No, they don't care. They just want to pretend, because the Republicans are they are not good in at actually governing. Their only agenda is to make the rich richer and to enrich themselves in the process. So when a crisis hits, something like this, they're way over their heads. So that's why Twitler is out there bullshitting and trying to get people to pretend like it's not happening. That's really the bottom line.
Oh, yeah.
And
now he's become this big champion of wearing a mask.
Oh, God.
Right?
God help us all. And Ivanka's tweeting out a picture of herself. And I mean, like, go away. Too late. Too effing late, you Twitler bastards. All of the whole Trump crime family. This is what we deserve. Did we? I guess we do. I guess it's our karma in a way. Because I keep asking, like, how much? What did we do to deserve this? But it really is, that's the byproduct of what we have allowed to go on. The upward immobility, the income disparity, all the rich getting richer, the tax cuts, and media. Deregulation of the media. That's Bill Clinton. Yeah. I mean, it was first Reagan with undoing the Fairness Doctrine, and then Bill Clinton deregulated the media, and here we are with 6 giant transnational corporations.
Funding wars.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
you bet. And funding the military.
Yeah.
And the Pentagon instead of the people.
That's right.
And now we've got people who can't pay medical bills with COVID. And we've got people that are getting COVID, young people in particular, and they feel fine, but then you know what? They're all going to have pre-existing conditions.
That's right.
Down the line.
That's
now.
it. That's
you
it.
know?
Yeah, and
Our
we don't
water,
know.
our food,
Right.
it's
That's
just
right.
Everything.
Yeah, enough is enough.
You
Really,
know?
really.
And you bet. And I've been working with a group called Action, and I've been making phone calls. I've been doing public testimony.
That's good.
I've been doing everything I can.
Great.
Yeah, here in Nevada, we made a video, and it went out on Instagram and Facebook.
That's awesome.
Because it's not good.
Yeah.
And our rights as LGBT people, our rights as disabled people, our rights as just human beings.
As human beings, exactly.
Are going to the wayside.
That's right. That's right. And then you got to keep fighting. Don't go quietly into that dark night. So as they say, rage against the dying of the light. That's what we're doing. We have to.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Jeff. What were you saying?
Yeah. Oh, I just want to say,
we got to do everything we can.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry to hear of the stuff that you're going through, Patricia. For one, losing coverage, losing caregivers. That's unacceptable in this country.
It is.
Absolutely unacceptable in this country that we don't care about people that need these services the most, and that the governors would rather for mining corporations and casinos and all of the stuff that we don't really need to do instead of taking care of regular human beings. And that's what we talk about again with the lack of empathy in the Republican Party. And I'm so glad that you're not sitting there and taking it. You're doing action. You're doing everything that you can. And I have a huge, deep respect for that.
Yes.
And so I appreciate your work.
Thank
because,
you.
Well, thank you.
It is. You're welcome. It is getting out there, and it's actually making your voice heard and naming and shaming politicians.
That's right. Absolutely.
In order to protect these things.
Absolutely.
I remember when Jon Stewart had to go out and shame.
That's right.
The people for not funding the firefighters.
Right.
From 9/11.
I know. I remember the heroes. Oh, we will move heaven and earth. Right. Really. You won't get off your ass, though.
And now the post office is under attack.
Yeah, it's all under attack.
Everything. I mean, I'm so disgusted.
Right.
I'm so disgusted.
I know.
And I mean, I've fought way too hard in my life for rights, and I was hopeful that things would get better.
Right. Well, it's not all right. They're not, but it's always darkest before the dawn. That's one thing that I think about with this time. That this is the time to wake up and to never stop fighting, to push and push and push until we win, because we will win.
I agree.
All right, Patricia, thank you for calling in. We got one more caller, and thank you.
To both of you.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. So, Jeff, you hanging in?
Yeah, I'll have to duck out here probably after this call.
Okay. All right, let's take one more caller. Where are you, caller? Hello, Wendy's on the air. How you doing?
Hi. So before you bail, Jeff, I seem to have lost you in the shuffle of my progressive voices. Can you please tell us when, where, why, how, and by which means we can find you?
There you go.
Absolutely. You can find me on youtube.com/TYTNation. You can also find me around the nation on Spreaker. That's on iTunes podcast. And of course, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/TYTNation. I do a show every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, on YouTube and Facebook. We stream live. And of course, I put out clips throughout the day as well. So, you can go check those out. And anytime you become a patron, of course, you can get the full podcast of the day's show as well. So that's no ads, no breaks, and all that stuff. So, and it goes to help, me to continue to do the show. And so
that's great.
Also, you can find me on Twitter at Jeff's Politics and the official show account at ATN on TYT.
Yes, I'll put all those links in the description after the show, so you'll be able to find him.
Who has time to read?
Really? Who has time to breathe? Really? So
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I will.
Look, I'm in Oakland. I've got it. Yeah.
What were you saying?
Yeah, I'm in Oakland. I've got to prepare for the Trump. I'm in Oakland. I've got to prepare for the Trump invasion that's apparently coming our way.
Oh God!
Oh no!
I think
right.
Stay safe.
I think he will find that in a so-called minority majority city, we are less than receptive to his advances.
That's what you got to do.
Every single woman he's ever met.
There you go. Got to stand up. That's why these moms, the wall of moms, that's perfect.
Wall of moms.
That's amazing. And great. Because how are you going to call the wall of moms a bunch of anarchists? Yeah, right?
Well, also, did you hear about the dads with the leaf blowers?
Oh, no. That's awesome.
Yes.
The wall of moms.
I love that. You see, we will win. People are putting up with this shit.
That's right.
It really is. That's the good thing, that it is waking people up. Because all the years I've been saying, in every Republican heart every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, and they are fascists, and blah, blah, blah. You know, the same. I've been saying this from years ago. But here it is. Everything we were talking about. And it's like it feels like you're a Cassandra for many years, talking and nobody believing you. But how can you not believe what you see? Of course. That's what they are. They only care about money and corporate power and concentrated wealth, and they will and crack skulls. And it doesn't, they are zero integrity. They're not about the Constitution. They're about oligarchy and division. Really, they can only handle democracy if they're at the top of the heap, and it's not really a democracy. So, but yes. Anyway, oh well, Jeff.
We have one last frivolous question from the chat that I've been ordered to ask. They're asking, Tara, what size stilettos do you wear? 3-inch or 5-inch?
How dare you?
For this one, I personally always wear. Yeah, I wear steel toes in case I need to put the boot in.
I don't
but
wear.
That's just
no,
me.
honey, I'm 6 feet tall. Who's asking these questions? Who is this? Greg? I bet you it's Greg.
Fine, Jeff. What size stilettos do you like to wear?
Oh, I go on the large side.
These are big bones. I don't wear stilettos. I try not to because I'm already 6 feet tall, and I really like to be comfortable. I've always been a tomboy, and you guys know that I don't really care about fashion or. If I could wear a uniform, I kind of do wear a uniform in a sense because I wear a T-shirt and whatever, pants. I buy the same pants except in different colors. So it's like, this is my pants. I like my pants. So I don't really think about fashion. I know people that really get into fashion. I need somebody to help me with fashion. But yeah, I don't wear stilettos. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm 6 feet tall. I think that would be and in fact, actually once I was at it was the Halloween parade in New York City, and I was dressed like Liza Minnelli from Cabaret, the character from Cabaret, and the
Sally Bowles.
Yeah, Sally Bowles, and the cop thought I was a drag queen, so he was like, miss, and then he went, sir. He thought I was a guy dressed as a girl, dressed as Sally Bowles. So, yeah, what are you going to do?
All right. So now that all the important business is out of the way, I will bid you guys a good evening.
I'll see you later. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right,
Best
Jeff.
Audience.
Yeah, that's great. They're great. They're great, and I'm glad that you got some new listeners too. That's great.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
So I always love that. You guys are fantastic. Progressives, we've got the best audiences, the best questions.
Yes.
And the best insight. And one of the things that I love to do on my show is always, read comments. Yeah, even from the YouTube. I definitely read the YouTube comments.
Yes.
But a lot of them are so amazing and supportive and insightful. And I cannot thank you guys enough.
Yeah.
Guys and gals that watch our shows and that believe in this fight, and you're fighting with us.
And they know it.
Just like Patricia. You're fighting.
That's right.
I love that.
And we're in it together. That's why the show, I feel, is more like a community, and we really are.
It's a family.
It really is, because we get a lot of crossover from different shows,
Definitely.
all of us. And there are a few, as you know, I mean, dedicated listeners. I'm one of those listeners, too, because I listen to the other shows as well. That's how I started doing this, to tell you the truth. I was a big listener of progressive media. And because you don't feel alone then. You're in it.
Exactly.
It's really, that's the most important part. Because we're
Especially if you live in a place that is,
right,
where you think that you're alone, where you feel that you're surrounded by, I mean, in this case, Trump signs.
Right. Oh, my
like,
God.
Oh, no, where am I going to go?
Right.
Like, you have progressive media, you've got us, and we've all got each other.
Right.
We're all fighting for people that we know and for people that we don't know, and that's what's important. Going back to Bernie Sanders, not me, us, and I think that's the most important message that we got to keep in our hearts. We got to remember, and we got to continue to fight for. Not me.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. We will do this again. I want to thank you for hanging in for all this time, and also putting up with the technical difficulties in the beginning. Now. Okay, good. Because I've had this. You've had
these troubles.
Well, because it was the first time. You're the first time that I'm taking a Skype video call with callers at the same time. So that's why I was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know, because we're gonna have Greg Palast on the show on Saturday, and he's gonna
amazing.
Yeah, he's gonna call in though. Now I'm feeling like I should have told him to do the Skype, but maybe I'll call back and ask him. I don't know. Whatever. All right. Who knows? Whatever. I'll think about this later. Guys, you're great. Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to put all Jeff's links after the show. I'm going to put them all in the description so you'll be able to find it. And in the meantime, Jeff, I want to encourage everybody to go to your show tomorrow at 3 p.m. on YouTube at TYT Nation, right? And watch your show every single goddamn day. Right.
Thank you, Tara. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun being here. Thank you so much for what you do.
Yes.
Keep fighting the fight.
You too. And I will talk to you soon.
Later.
All right. Bye-bye.
See y'all later.
Bye. All right. Let's see. How do I get back to me only? There we go. That was great. Jeff is great. What an amazing... Whoop, not that. Let's see. How do I get rid of that? Okay, good. Thank you all for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Jeff is great. We're going to have to do this more often. Let me see. First of all, you guys, I want to thank you. I haven't looked at your chats as much, so I appreciate your bearing with me. Thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Thank you, Els214, another super chat. Sorry I'm late to the party. Democracy is dying in the dark, but you give me hope to cling to. Same to you, Els. Really, same to you. Deborah, thank you for your super chat. Tara, we love you. I love you too. Thank you, Deborah. John, thank you for your super chat. Another John, a different John, John T. and John F. Thank you. And Patricia, thank you for your super chat. Let's see what else is going on. What's going on with you asking me about what kind of stilettos I wear? What is this shit? What am I, an object? You think I'm an object or something? I'm a woman. I'm a person. God damn it. Maybe I need a fashion plate. I need a... Yes, I don't need a producer. Eli is saying, Tara, you don't need no stinking producer. We do it all. Andrea says... Has anyone else noticed that for almost 3 weeks, there's been no news about Herman Cain's COVID? That's true. Let's look that up. Herman Cain, because I bet you he's probably very sick. Wow. Let's see what's on the news part. Herman Cain is receiving treatment for coronavirus. This is 3 weeks ago at Atlanta Hospital. What do you want to make a bet? That he's in very bad condition. You understand that if he was fine, he would be tweeting and text or whatever the hell he's doing, whatever he does. Haven't heard a peep from him. You're right. In 3 weeks, it's sort of like when, I don't know. Well, he's not like a king or anyone really with that much power, but it's like when the king dies. They don't tell the people for like 3 days. Who knows? I don't think he's dead. Who knows? We would hear if he's dead, don't you think? Herman Cain. Let me look up on Twitter. Let's see if he's tweeted anything. Oh, well, it says but this could be his people. An hour ago, there's a tweet. Family of federal judge who was assigned to Epstein case shot. That's what he tweeted an hour ago. But that doesn't mean that he's tweeting this himself. He has people to tweet that. Yeah. Well, more will be revealed. And more will be required, as we say in a little place I like to call the community of recovering people. Here's one last thing we're going to talk about. I hope you're still hanging in. I am. I'm hanging in. How are you? I like doing the show. We didn't get any patrons yesterday, but I'm doing the show anyway. I guess, I don't know. We'll grow. We will grow. We are growing. You guys are the early adopters of the show. We need about 1,000 more patrons. And we also need more subscribers. Like and subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell. These are annoying things to do. But if David Pakman can get, what does he have? He's got almost 900,000 followers. Are you kidding me? What's up with us? What's up with Tarabuster? That's what goes on in my head half the time. I compare myself to others. But then I learned, I've been told in general by shrinks and also in recovery that you don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yourself. And I get that. Because a lot of times when I compare myself to others, I fall short. Because, first of all, I'm in recovery. So I spent a lot of time not doing the right thing. But all of that is value as well. We can... Oh, hi, Tara Jr. Welcome to the show. Let me see. On the Facebook chat, Israel writes, sometime when you can, be sure to mention that a man was shot in the face by the unidentified police in Portland, Oregon. So many people are unaware of this. Even after surgery, he has a tube in his head to drain the blood. Did you guys hear about this? I think I heard about this, actually, but I'm not informed about it. I think I might have heard this today on Tom Hartman's show. Face. Hold on, let me see. But this is something else we want to talk about. I just wanted to confirm this. Portland. This is scary times. And if we allow it to continue, we know the end of the story. The good news is that people are standing up. The wall of moms and the dads. That's great. We're not taking it. And young people are getting back into the streets. Here's the thing. When that's because they suck. They don't know how to govern or they are unfit on every level. So as it was being reported that the protests were actually dying down until Twitter sent in the Gestapo. Because that's the paradox to power. I'm sure you've heard that statement before. There is a paradox to power, that the more the more power you use, the more you are met with resistance. All they had to do is let the protests die down as they were. They send in the police, and the people say, and those are the real Americans. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, in the future, I said this on the Trumpanzee chat today, when the Trumpanzees were all attacking me. They came out of they were like, they came out of the woodwork. They were going, Trump 2020. That's the internet equivalent of laying a big poopy in your diaper. When you say the truth, that Twitler is unfit to lead a drunken conga line, much less a modern nation or any nation, then they come back with Trump 2020. That's the best they can do. It's sort of like, you ever see a baby try to pass a poopy in their diaper, and they're like, That's the Trump 2020. They bring nothing to the table. Trump 2020. You see what I got here, a big poopy. That's what it reminds me of. Someone laying their dirty diaper in the middle of the chat room saying, here you go. And then they blame everybody else for the stench they created. Trump 2020. Really? After everything. You've seen it all. After it all. After seeing after the 140,000 dead. After the mass graves. After the sickness. The millions unemployed. The complete ineptitude. The lies. The misspelled tweets. The racism. The coming down an escalator. That's where you should have known. Coming down an escalator saying Mexicans are rapists. But we understand what we're dealing with. They're racists. They are racists. Economically insecure. Whatever. My ass. They're racists. That's really what it came down to for them. Because if it was really about economic insecurity, we know that they would have, what do you call it? They would have been with Bernie Sanders. Is this somebody on the, oh, no. I thought that somebody else had called in. I'm shutting off the phones. Just letting you know. But, all right. Phones are off. Last thing I want to talk about. I thought this is interesting. One of the things that I like to do in my downtime, when I really want to tune out, one of the things that fascinates me in general is Scientology. Not as a participant, as watching it sort of like watching Trumpanzees. Studying the cult of Scientology. I enjoy, I guess it started with when I saw that HBO special called Going Clear. I saw that documentary about the ex-Scientologists who made that documentary. And then I went online and I just Googled Scientology on YouTube, and there's all these videos about the Scientologists who are abusing people and hunting them down and following them. I mean, it's crazy shit. And it's a cult. It's a greed-centered cult. And then I watched that Leah Remini show about Scientology on A&E. That was a good show. I like Leah Remini. I think she's funny. And good for her. It's a fascinating. I don't know if it's a hobby. It's just an interest. So, but if you go on YouTube and you Google Scientology, fair game, you'll see these videos. These people acting like assholes. Stalking people, showing up at their doors. I mean, really, what church acts like this? But anyway, today at the Daily Beast, there's this and there's this weird, there's a story. It's called Inside Trump and Farrakhan's Strange Ties to Scientology. Of course. And one thing about Republicans, too, and I remember, I don't think I mentioned it on the show, but one of these, wait, I'm trying to get rid of this lower third. One of the things that Scientology did to get their tax exempt status illegitimately, in my opinion, they should definitely be taxed. They're a cult. They're a money-making cult, not a church. Is that they harassed the IRS personally. All the agents, for years this went on. They sued the individual IRS agents until finally the IRS commissioner relented and gave them tax exempt status. And Republicans, they engage in similar the similar tactics, the way that they attack institutions solely aimed at undermining the institutions. And maybe they learned it from Scientology. But according to this article in the Daily Beast, whistleblowers Leah Remini and Mike Rinder open up on the links between Donald Trump, the Nation of Islam, and the Church of Scientology, from loans and donations to fundraising. So, the article is by Marlo Stern. On July 6th, the Trump administration released federal data revealing which small, quote-unquote, businesses were awarded Paycheck Protection Program loans because of the COVID-19 shutdown. In addition to the Kushner family, Trump's fundraising pal Joe Farrell and Kanye West, one name stood out among the recipients: the Church of Scientology. The celebrity-obsessed church, quote-unquote church, which professes that an intergalactic overlord named Zeno brought billions of aliens to Earth 75 million years ago, arranged them at a base of volcanoes, and blew them up with hydrogen bombs, and their surviving souls haunt the human race, received 3 loans up to $350,000 each for its sites in New York, Florida, and Washington, D.C., supporting what it claims to be a total of 137 employees. It's curious. It's a curious decision by the Trump administration awarding hundreds of thousands of dollars to a scandal-plagued organization that, due to its tax-exempt status, has reportedly amassed more than $1 billion in assets, mostly in real estate holdings. Because the Church of Scientology is not, it's not a religion. It's a scam, and they use the money that people pay to go up the bridge. They're really not inaugurating or bringing in new members. What they're doing is buying property. They're buying real estate all over the world. And it's just a scam to accumulate money. And they use that money to harass people, to harass the dissenters, people who speak out against the church, the so-called church. So it's a little bit, expected, corrupt and expected for this church, quote unquote, to take PPP money, this $1 billion organization. And so it's a curious decision, as I read, that and the decision, it is a decision that's angered former Scientologists turned whistleblowers Leah Remini and Mike Rinder. It's insane, says Remini. Mike and I have tried to meet many times with the IRS, and the IRS knows what they've done, what this Church of Scientology has done. They've known that they've cleared the way for Scientology to misappropriate their money. It runs like a business for profit and just says that. Remini, a former high-ranking Scientologist who sank $5 million into the church, and Rinder, its ex-spokesperson / senior executive, are, along with journalist Tony Ortega, the premier sources for exposing abuses within the tight-lipped religion. After 3 seasons of their Emmy award-winning A&E series, Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath, the duo launched a new podcast called Scientology Fair Game that focuses on the church's fair game doctrine, wherein leader David Miscavige's army of acolytes are reported to do everything in their power to intimidate its enemies into silence. The Church of Scientology didn't respond for a request. Please, one thing I'm hoping now that I'm reading this article, I want to be declared a suppressive person. Please. I want a letter that says I am a suppressive person, everyone. Okay? Wouldn't that be great? Then I'll put out an ad. I could say I'm a suppressive person. Isn't that great? Well, suppressive against Scientology. I am a progressive person who's a suppressive person. So, since, as Remini and Rinder have repeatedly claimed, Scientology mostly operates via a series of volunteers, they're confused about why the church would need government handouts to compensate paid employees. This is why the PPP loans, quote unquote loan, it's robbery. It's highway robbery. It's more corruption. While the American people are living check to check, can't save $400, are on food banks, are now, because of Republican ineptitude, are living in a state of fear and anxiety. Will they be able to pay their August rent? Or will the Republicans once again knock the knees right out from under them? In the worst goddamn economic environment since the first Republican Great Depression. So, there's enough money for all the scams going on. Now, of course, there's enough money for Scientology. They get money. Ridiculous. Uh-oh. I just fucked up this article. Holy shit. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing now because it's too long. I'm pointing out yet again, how much longer? I got to ask, how much longer are we going to take it? Everybody's got their hand out. All the scams, all the corruption. Let me get to, I just want to get to the Trump part of this article. If I can, unless they knock me out because I didn't pay. So, Remini, where am I? Since Remini and Rinder have repeatedly claimed Scientology mostly operates via a series of volunteers. Okay. The PPP loans were about ensuring that people don't lose their jobs. And Scientology, when confronted about the fact that they don't pay minimum wage or pay anything, say these people are volunteers, offers Rinder. Staff members of Scientology organizations are, quote, volunteers, and they're not employees. So, and they're getting loans so that people don't lose their jobs. The PPP loans mark the latest curious tie between Trump and Scientology. According to a 2015 investigation by the Smoking Gun that analyzed and published portions of tax returns from Donald Trump, from his charitable foundation between 1990 and 2014, Trump's charity arm made only one donation to a September 11th related cause in the wake of the tragedy. A $1,000 donation, quote unquote, to the New York Rescue Workers Detoxification Project. That program is started by, it is a program from the Church of Scientology and Tom Cruise. That program, started by the Church of Scientology and Tom Cruise, sought to heal first responders with smoke-damaged lungs via the purification rundown, a medically unproven detox method that involves pumping the body full of vitamins, performing loads of exercise, and spending many hours in a sauna. Scientists and health professionals have called it dangerous. And Joy Villa has infiltrated the Trump administration, adds Remini, referring to the Scientologist pitchwoman/singer who served on Trump's campaign advisory board. I don't know how this continues to be a thing, Remini says. It should be criminal. Trump has also met with a number of big money Scientology donors at the White House, where they were photographed together while Vice President Pence entertained top Scientology lobbyist Greg Mitchell. How do you feel, ladies and gentlemen, that our con man, tax cheating, draft dodging, dictator envying con man who received fewer votes, who has a fake university and a fake vitamin scam, is hanging out with the biggest religious scam on the planet? It's of course, like knows like, water seeks its level. Mike Pence, this Christian, this holy roller, hanging out, palling around with Scientologists, a fake church that is a scam that uses its the money that it makes from not having to pay taxes to share in the society, the civilization that we all make possible for them, uses their money to harass people for speaking out. I'm not just talking about harassment. This is a criminal cult. What they've done to people, they are relentlessly, they're sick. For example, something called Operation Freakout from a church. Reminding you. Operation Freakout from the Church of Scientology. This is from Wikipedia. Operation Freakout, also known as Operation PC Freakout, was a Church of Scientology covert plan intended to have U.S. author and journalist Paulette Cooper imprisoned or committed to a psychiatric hospital. The plan, undertaken in 1976 following years of church-initiated lawsuits and covert harassment, was meant to eliminate the perceived threat that Cooper posed to the Church of Scientology and obtain revenge for her publication of a 1971 book that was critical. It was called The Scandal of Scientology. The FBI discovered documentary evidence of the plot and the preceding campaign of harassment during an investigation into Scientology in 1977, which eventually led to the church compensating Cooper in a settlement. What they did was they got Cooper's fingerprints. Somebody infiltrated. This is what they do. They infiltrate people's lives. They pretend to be friends. They befriended Paulette Cooper, this person that she really thought was her friend. And they got her to, they obtained her fingerprints. And then they sent death threats to, I believe it was Kissinger. And the FBI arrested Paulette Cooper, and they were going to prosecute her with this fabricated evidence, until the FBI also, when they raided the Church of Scientology, found out that this was a campaign of targeted harassment, and many prominent Scientologists went to jail. But that's not it. This is a church. You don't see the Catholic Church doing that. For as much as the Catholic Church is I would say not exactly, I don't know, whatever. I'm not saying anything. I was raised Catholic, but it is another money-making operation. We know that. They diddle young kids. This is a pedophile ring. Not the whole thing. I know. Very decent Catholics. I'm sorry. My aunt is a Catholic. But they certainly don't, even when you criticize them, they don't send people to your home to befriend you and become your roommate so they can get your fingerprints and send in a death threat to the secretary of something so you can end up in jail under FBI investigation or in a loony bin after years and years of harassment. They harassed this woman for decades for writing an article and then writing a book critical of this freaking scam that Trump is hanging out with in the White House. You get this? How disgusting this is? How scary and dangerous, on top of everything else that's scary and dangerous. Is this really a person that deserves the respect of playing Hail to the Chief when he walks in a room? Is this somebody who deserves to be talked about all the time on corporate media? What his tone? Oh, he had a different tone today. What do you think? Is his tone going to be different tomorrow? That's how sick we are. Going along with the scam. All of this is right in front of our face. So the article continues. Trump, and I read this, Trump has met with big moneyed Scientology donors at the White House. They were photographed together. And VP Pence entertained top Scientology lobbyist Greg Mitchell. They seem to have, I guess, no problem with a scam that employs private detectives. I'm sure they keep the entire industry of private investigation afloat. This church. This so-called church. Scientology's reach doesn't stop there. The church is also deeply connected with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, which has been designated a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center for Farrakhan's rabid anti-Semitism and praise of Hitler. Among other things, since 2010, the Nation of Islam has been promoting benefits, quote-unquote, of Dianetics, the core set of principles taught by Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, who is another lying scam artist. I found the tool that I know can help us, and thank God for Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, Farrakhan announced during a sermon in Chicago on July 1st, 2012. Thank God for his research and his teachings. Then there's the matter of Tony Muhammad, the West Coast regional minister of the Nation of Islam, whose face is plastered all over the Scientology website. Muhammad is the recipient of the IIS Freedom Medal, the church's most coveted award, for spreading its teachings. It's, quote, it's such an ugly marriage of convenience between these two, and it's going to ultimately end in an ugly divorce because both of these organizations believe they are the only true answer, explains Mike Rinder. Scientology, through David Miscavige, has done enormous things to try to engage and involve the Nation of Islam in Scientology. They have subsidized their involvement and given the highest Scientology awards to Tony Muhammad, the West Coast leader of the Nation of Islam. They have Nation of Islam people showing up to their events, acting as security. And conversely, Farrakhan is preaching from his pulpit about this great man, L. Ron Hubbard, who's come to save the black man. It's utterly insane, says Rinder. And when it comes to Muhammad's involvement with Scientology, few people know more than Leah Remini, who says that she served as Muhammad's handler of sorts. She says, when I was introduced to Tony Muhammad at the Celebrity Center, he was in a very tough spot. He was not doing well financially. He wasn't making money. And yet he was working for Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam's West Coast representative. Celebrity Center asked me to buddy him and to indoctrinate him into Scientology, and that's exactly what happened. Since he couldn't even pay his rent, I ended up sponsoring him for his introductory courses. Celebrity Center asked me to do this, and he's never paid me back, and he blocked me on Twitter. I consider myself a friend to Tony and his family, yet I receive threats from Farrakhan's speech. Leah Remini continues, and you receive a 10% commission anytime you get somebody to do a Scientology service, and you're called a staff member once you start promoting Scientology, well, the Scientology courses, which is what they've done. So I think there's also a financial benefit to the Nation of Islam telling their followers to study Scientology. So, how do you feel about the so-called president of the United States? On top of everything else, we get them in bed with another greed-centered cult and another cult deemed a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. This is disgusting. Are we great yet? I want to ask. Anybody? Are we great yet? Are we there yet? Are we? Oh, is this real life? I gotta ask. Sometimes I wake up. That's how I wake up in the middle of the night screaming. Is this real? Are we really living in a country like this? Am I really in this country? Is this happening? Is it real? Somebody can grab that clip and they can say, Tara Devlin, progressive bitch. Oh, speaking of bitch, one last thing before another progressive bitch. I'm sure you saw AOC was called a bitch. Unbelievable. These effing disgusting Republicans. This is another example. Yet there they go again, proving me right. Republicans are incapable of functioning in a type of free democratic society they can only pretend to love. All right. That's the bottom line. They don't love America. They're confused by America. They lack the fundamental capabilities to function in America. So Ted Yoho? Are you kidding me? He doesn't like AOC. He's got a problem with women, I suppose. According to the Independent of the UK, Justin Vallejo writes, Republican Congressman Ted Yoho has been accused of calling AOC a fucking bitch after a heated exchange on the steps of the Capitol. Well, I think it was only him yelling at her because he's a tiny little bitch himself. He's the bitch. And a strong woman, what's his problem, frankly? What's he afraid of? That he's not going to get his kickback from his big money fucking puppeteers? Yeah, here comes the cursing. It's almost 11, so. Quoting a reporter who overheard the exchange, The Hill said Mr. Yoho made the comment after an interaction over the rise in violent crime in New York. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez recently claimed that the rise in gun violence, which includes a spike in the number of people critically injured and killed, was the result of people in a position either to shoplift some bread or go hungry for the night. Mr. Yoho allegedly said she was disgusting for making the claim and told her, "You're out of your freaking mind." After the Progressive Democrat responded that he was rude and the pair parted ways in opposite direction, Mr. Yoho reportedly said out loud, "Fucking bitch." Well, that's who they are. Names like that are another way. That's like the N-word, the B, calling a woman a bitch, calling someone the N-word, calling them a racial slur. These are all ways that the privilege, the power structure, tells you and me and everybody else, that they are not in their place. Do you understand? That's what it means. Fucking bitch. Get back, cross that line. Back in your place, bitch. You're not a woman with triacle pad on. You're a bitch. You're threatening the privileged and the powerful. That's what you're not in your place. It's a racial slur. It's what any racial slur is all. What any misogynist slur. What a slur is about. It's trying to correct you and get you back in your place. And yet again, here I say again, Republicans, they are incapable on every level. Not just incapable of having a leadership position in a modern nation. They're incapable of functioning in a modern nation. They would much rather have a nation like Pakistan, except with Jesus, a little bit more Jesus-y. We get it. As long as they're on the top and everybody else is in their place. That's what Yoho. Who is Yoho? Who says to Ted Yoho, that's the guy that I want to represent me? What kind of loser votes for a Ted Yoho? In response, Miss Ocasio-Cortez tweeted that she had never spoken to Mr. Yoho before he accosted her on the steps of the nation's Capitol building. She says, I never spoke to Rep. Yoho. Before he decided to accost me. Believe it or not, I usually get along fine with my GOP colleagues. We know how to check our legislative sparring at the committee door. But hey, bitches get stuff done. Absolutely right. And that's what it's about. How many women have been called that throughout history? You fucking bitch. It's always when you're not in your place. You get that? What they think your place is. What it should be. You need to know your place, bitch. Mr. Yoho did not respond to the independent's request for comment. Speaking to The Hill, Mr. Yoho said no comment, while a spokesperson for Congressman Roger Williams, who was nearby during the exchange, said he didn't hear what was said because he's another coward. Is he a Republican? I didn't hear. I'm not getting involved. He's too busy sucking up. He's got work to do. You know, sucking up to a tax cheating, draft dodging he's a lickspittle of a con man. So he's got work to do. Right when I Googled him, it says Texas GOP. Well, of course, that's what I was looking up. Is he a Republican? Yes, of course he is. On Fox News, the article says Texas GOP Rep. Roger Williams denies AOC claim he yelled at her. Bullshit. He just said he didn't hear it. So there goes Fox News reframing the narrative. He denies? So then why? Apparently, Yoho apologized. So what's he apologizing for? He either did it or he didn't. If he didn't do it, then he didn't. Why would he have to apologize? But why would she lie about it? Of course she didn't. These people can't control themselves. I'm surprised he didn't yell, Trump 2020, you fucking bitch. Trump 2020. How pathetic do you gotta be to be the effing supporter of a Donald Trump? Come on, guys. don't you have any dignity? You going to vote for that serial bankrupt con man? I mean, really? It's baffling. That's why I say, why do they give him legitimacy? So, any comments overheard or attributed to Congressman Williams was part of a separate conversation that he and Yoho were having, the spokesperson said. Congressman Williams would have immediately condemned that type of language towards any colleague. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez later claimed that Mr. Williams was lying and joined in with Mr. Yoho in the exchange. She says, "Gotta love Republican courage from Rep. Roger Williams of Texas when he undeniably sees another man engaged in virulent harassment of a young woman. You just pretend you never saw it in the most cartoonish manner possible, and keep pushing." He's lying, by the way. He joined in with Yoho. What's wild to me is that Roger Williams is why you would blatantly lie to a reporter who saw the exchange. You were yelling at me, too, about throwing urine. Third member of Congress who witnessed the exchange, when asked later, demurs, saying, "I was thinking about some other issues, and I had got to get to my district and get it done." Yeah, what's your issue? Making the rich richer and sucking up to a con man. If that means sucking up to a dictator envying con man with a fake university, yeah. And calling somebody a bitch who only wants to ensure that the American people don't die without health care. What a bitch. We don't want to live check to check while Jeff Bezos hoards an extra $18 billion in one day while the American people are literally dying. While the American people are sitting in their home going, shit, am I going to be able to afford my rent? Yeah, she only wants to ensure that the American people get a fair share of the profit that their labor makes possible. What a bitch. Honestly, really. How much longer? How much effing longer are we going to take it? All right, there's so much more to talk about, but we will have to talk about it tomorrow. What about that? What do you think of that? Why not somebody become a patron? Okay? What do you want me to do? Open a vein here? Let's see. Greg, it's become so strange. What? Who's become strange? Greg? Yes. Yes, lining up for food. Patricia. All right. I really appreciate all your super chats. Thank you again, Jim and Els and Deborah and John. And John F. and John T. Two different Johns. My father's name was John. I like the name John, okay? And Patricia. My aunt's name is Patricia. Okay? It's all in the family. Why does my camera suck? That's what I want to know. Why do I look like a ghost all the time? You know why? It's because whenever I open up a website, I need to get some better lighting. When Jeff was on the show, he's got great lighting. What the hell? Why do I look like shit? Why does my life suck? And everybody else has a good life. Why does everybody have a good life but me? You ever feel like that? Yes. Join the human race. That's how it is. God, these Republicans. It's just never ending. Oh, my God. Oh, wow, look at this. And then Matt Getz. I can confirm that AOC gets along with many of her Republican colleagues on a range of things that don't have to do with anything to do with legislation or politics. She is not a bitch. How dare you? I guess he's trying to be nice, but oh my God. Really? Oh, well, thanks, Matt Getz. Holy shit. What a world. They're infants. Republicans are infants. Well, what are you going to do? I had another thing I wanted to talk about, but we could talk about it tomorrow. Maybe. If you become a patron. I know that one person. It doesn't have to be a lot. $2 a month. We just need... So we need to... I don't know, whatever. I'm tired. I'm tired of begging. I'm tired of this shit. How much longer? I'm tired. You ever just get tired? And you're like, tired. Very good. I'm reading someone's tweet. Hey, bro, Jeff Waldorf. Someone tweeted to Jeff and they tagged me. I just came into your convo with Sister Tara Devlin on tonight's Tarabuster. I plan to go back and listen later. It's very nice. That's good. Jeff was good. It was a good conversation. I could see he was looking at his watch, though, after a while. Probably had somewhere to go. He's too polite to say that, though. He's a very polite person and very nice person, too. You know what I mean? He's a real person. He's the real goddamn deal. He's a good person. Not like Andy Ngo. He would never be... If he ever got hit with a milkshake, he would never lie and say that there was cement in the milkshake and then turn it into a GoFundMe campaign that Republican and Democrat assholes, Democratic Party morons, like I think Chuck Schumer, actually, I think it was even Joe Biden said something about it, hopped on the bandwagon saying it's unacceptable. But it never happened, isn't it? It's so unacceptable. It never happened. All right, guys. This was a good show. We had our ups. We had our downs. We had a lot of things happen. At the same time, we had a lot of frustrating things happen, too. You helped me figure out the phone system. That's good. I wish I could figure out this lighting situation. Well, what the thing is, it's that when I'm reading the websites, you see, this white that hits me, maybe I gotta get some kind of light, like a screen or something that blocks some of the light. But because when I put on this, when I read a website or something and it's white, you're seeing the reflection of the website hitting. That's why it's so blown out. And why is Chuck Todd trending on Twitter? It can't be good. It's never good. Guess who? What is this? Chuck Todd said today, on the mask front, the president has turned a corner. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is why we're in trouble. And that's why I ask you to please support the liberal media. Like this show. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Subscribe. For real. The media is part of the problem. The corporate media. Chuck Todd, the president has turned a corner on masks. F you, Chuck Todd. Now, thank you for normalizing it. For normalizing the con man who's turned the corner. he'll turn right around and turn that corner again. We know that. This morning, let me go to Anand Garaharde's Twitter feed because this is where I found it. He was saying that, and it's true. Right here on, I'll show you what I'm looking at. You know what's, well, okay, so he retweeted this ABC News Politics. The note, the president is displaying a new tone and a new level of engagement after aides and allies have pleaded with him to recognize the gravity of the moment. Are you serious? And so Anand Garahardes writes, you know what's far more serious problem than cancel culture? How someone this oblivious can rise to be a political director of ABC, normalizing incompetent fascism, while unaccountable numbers of qualified, intelligent journalists with a sense of history are laid off. Notice how the corporate media are rallying around Twitler's tone now. Exactly as Anand Garahardes writes. We're in big-ass trouble. The fact that they're normalizing it and falling for it, and they're reporting it as if it's legitimate and sincere. So we will get into this more tomorrow, hopefully. Definitely, if somebody becomes a patron by tomorrow, 5 o'clock or so, if we get a new patron, we will have a show. How's about that? Maybe I will have a show anyway. I don't know. I gotta kind of stick to my guns. The Patreon challenge. It's hard. It's because I know we will get more patrons, but we just have to have more shows and we gotta find more community. That's how it goes. So we're in this together. For real. We know it. You know it. I know it. Okay, where is you? Where is you? Did I shut the damn thing? Where is my people? Where's my people gone? Where's my sheeples? What is this? Nice backhanded compliment from Matt Getz. Exactly, Tony. She is not a bitch. F you, Matt. Oh, thank you. How gallant. Chivalry is not dead. My God, where do we live? Where the hell do we live? Is this real? I'm serious. Are we living in a real... Am I living in some kind of performance art piece? Is that what's happening? Are we going to wake up and Republicans are going to go, surprise! It's all been this elaborate Andy Kaufman-like performance art. And really, that's what it feels like sometimes. All right, I'm really stalling now because I'm trying to find you. Here you go. Here we go. We're going. We're finding you. It's happening. I see you. All right, my friends. Thank you all for your super chats. There's still a couple of seconds if you want a super chat. Or become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And now, also like and share the show with your friends. Go to the iTunes page and give the show a good review. All that stuff. God. I know I've been spoiling you with too many podcasts. Maybe you're getting used to it. I need to do more shows. More shows, more listeners. More listeners, more shows. More listeners, more shows. More patrons, more shows. More listeners. More patrons, more consistent shows. Did you get it? end at a set time. That's how it has to happen. Otherwise, we're done. The problem is doing the sporadic shows during the week and not having a consistent set time, because people have to know when you're going to be on. Are they going to sit down? Okay, now I'll listen to Tara. Now I'll listen to, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Hi, Junior. Are you coming up or not? Or are you just staring at me? Get up here. Get up here. All right, forget you. Forget you. Guys, it's been great. I want to thank you. I also want to thank Jeff Waldorf. Go and subscribe to him as well. That is in order. And hopefully we'll have him on. We'll have him on the air again. We definitely will. Oh, hi, Junior. Finally, you're here. Just in time to say good night, everybody. Right, you're my baby. Oh, I love you. I love you, baby. I love you. I love this cat, everyone. I love this cat. All right. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. And thank you, Jeff Waldorf from TYT Nation, for a really great conversation. Remember what I always say. We stick together, we win, and we will win, because we are on the right side of history. We are on the right side of democracy. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hopefully, become a patron. And definitely, I will see you tomorrow night.